Now, as you know, I talk a lot about sex education on this channel, and sometimes I talk about LGBT issues, but I have to be really careful when I talk about sex education stuff. If I say man and woman a lot, when I don't really mean man and woman, then people who are transgender can get offended, but also left out. So the language that I use to describe different sexes and genders when I talk about sex education is really important. And just to be even more confusing, when I'm talking about relationships, it's actually not the same. There I should be using man and woman, but in the broader kind of who you're attracted to sense. When I talk about sexes in a medical context, you used to say biosex male and biosex female. And whilst there was nothing inherently wrong with these phrases, they were not that inclusive, and frankly, often not accurate. What those phrases meant was somebody who was biologically female, who you might expect to have a vulva and ovaries, and somebody who was biologically male may have a penis and testicles. But if you've been through gender reassignment surgery, then just because you've got a vulva doesn't mean you have ovaries, and for that matter, if you have ovaries doesn't mean you've necessarily got a vulva. You might have a penis because you've been through that reassignment surgery, or you may have been intersex in the first place. You had both sets of genitals, or a combination of different bits in your body. So you can see how this gets a bit confusing. What has evolved though is the language that we use. So we may now say assigned female at birth or assigned male at birth, which would at least be accurate when describing how somebody was gendered on their birth certificate. It's their assigned sex. And for shortening, we can say AFAB and AMAB. So somebody who is assigned that sex and would otherwise be called biologically male or biologically female. If they transition, they may change their biology as well as transition their gender. And whilst there is no perfect language, we haven't really got better language right now. And of course, this could very well change in the future. So I might say assigned male at birth for people who would ordinarily have a male reproductive system, and assigned female at birth for people who would have a female reproductive system. But that is no comment on their gender, if you see where I'm coming from here. I think we've got to a place now where we can understand this. However, when it comes to sex education, even these are a bit too generic. So I like to use the following phrases. Somebody with a penis should wear a condom to have safe sex. Yeah? So there's no comment on their gender or what they were assigned at birth or anything else like that. If they have a penis, then this is kind of thing that they may want to do or might want to be aware of. And that goes for any other part of the body. Somebody with ovaries, somebody with vagina, somebody with a bumhole, which should be pretty much everybody. And obviously this means that the language is much more inclusive, because if you have those body parts, then that means you, and if you don't have those body parts, then it probably doesn't mean you. And again, this isn't perfect, but it certainly is a lot better than just saying male and female. Now, of course, there is a whole big minefield when it comes to relationships, because if you are heterosexual and you are cisgendered, then this is really easy. I'm a man, I'm cisgendered, I am heterosexual, therefore I fancy women, cisgendered women as it were. That's easy to understand, yeah? However, if you are a trans male to female and you are a lesbian, because you're female, right? Okay, understand? Then, okay, you can be attracted to cisgendered females, but are you also attracted to male to female trans people? Or perhaps you're bisexual and those genders that you fancy are cisgendered males and cisgendered females. Also, you could be pansexual, which actually is the easiest of all these terms. Pansexual means you like everybody. And then there's asexual, you're not actually sexually attracted to anybody. So, at least for me, what makes this easier is when you're talking about relationships, is that a man, no comment on whether that's cis or transgender, is attracted to a woman, again, no comment on whether that is cisgender, transgender or otherwise. Or gender fluid. I forgot about gender fluid. I can't believe that. Oh, see how confusing this is? I'm confused, and I allegedly know at least a bit of what I'm talking about. I think I've just found out that halfway through recording this video, I don't actually know enough. If anybody can actually explain this, please do leave it in the comments, explain to everybody and me, and I shall report back to you in a later video into what I have properly found out. As confusing as this is, I hope you can see how important it is to use the right language when talking about sex education or any medical context or relationships, or for that matter, out on the street. There's no reason really to keep on saying man and woman when you don't mean man and woman, or for that matter, saying male and female when you actually do mean man and woman. I'm always learning, and I hope you've learned something from this video as well. If you liked it, do give it a thumbs up just down below. Please subscribe because I make videos every single week, and that means you can also watch my previous videos. Go and watch those. I shall see you next time. Bye bye.